What is up, guys? This is PC Gaming 300 back for another video, and in this video I'm going to be starting up my new Camtasia Studio Tutorial Series. Now, I've been using Camtasia Studio since Camtasia Studio 7, so I do have a fair amount of experience with using the program. I've been using it as my main editing program for about video editing program for about 3 to 4 years. That always happens when I record. But I've been using it for about 3 to 4 years, and so I think I have enough experience that I can make a series like this. Now, today, which is October 23rd, from this date, I'm going to be using Camtasia Studio 8.4. Now, everything which I'm going to be showing you is pretty much going to stay the same for future versions, and if they do change anything drastically that goes against my tutorials, then I will update them, and I'll leave links in those videos to future videos that'll update those tutorials, so you don't have to worry about that either. Now, when you first open up Camtasia Studio, I have it open over here, you'll see this screen. Now, this is basically over here, as you can see, it says record the screen. Camtasia Studio actually does come with a screen recorder, which I'm using to record right now. It's right here. As you can see, I'm using it to record right now. And it's a pretty decent screen recorder. I mean, it doesn't work for all full screen applications. It works for all windowed applications, but it doesn't work for all full screen applications like video games, and it's not the best at recording video games. It does reduce performance quite drastically when gaming on it, so it's not good for those things, but it's good for videos like the one which I'm doing right now. It has tons of cool features in it, and I'll be making a tutorial on that later on as well, just showing you the recorder and that kind of stuff. And that's just one of the cool things that comes with Camtasia Studio. Now on the screen, as you can see, you can press record the screen right here. Once you're into the recorder, you can actually go over here, you can click on this over here, or you can just hit Control R and that'll open up the recorder as well. Over here it says import media, so you can just click on it and you can import photos, videos, audio, I don't know why this keeps coming up, or basically any type of media like audio recordings, videos, photos, that kind of thing. And over here it shows all your recent projects. So I have my $350 gaming PC build, I have this video, I have a bunch of stuff. Now, let me just close this. Now, once you're into the editor, now the first time you ever open up Camtasia Studio, it'll come up with a tutorial, but after you get over that stuff, what you'll usually see is you'll just see this blank screen over here. You can see this black box, it says Camtasia Studio, you see this white area, and you can see the timeline down here. Now in this video, I'm only really going to go through the menus. I'm not really going to show you how to do anything. I'll start showing you how to use the different features in the next video, and basically what I'm planning on doing is I plan on just showing you how to do each and every feature, how to use the different features that for the first, like, say 5, 10, 15 parts of this tutorial series, and then after that I'll start to apply different features to create certain things, like maybe a simple outro or an intro or something like that, and I'll just show you how to do things just so that you guys can learn how to apply these things. Now let's get on to the menus. Now down here we have all of our menus, which is where all the magic happens to get all your features. So over here, the one that you're in right now is the clip in. This is basically where all your media goes. So whenever you import anything, so for example, you can import media either by clicking here on that first screen or box that comes up when you first start out the program, or you can just go to File and hit Import over there as well, but I like this one because it's the easiest way to access it. Just click over here, there we go, and let me just import this photo of the Windows 7 case. I'll just import some random photo, and it'll show up in here. Basically anything will show up in here, your images, audio, any type of media, and if you just click on it, you can drag it down to the timeline, and then you can do whatever you want with it over here, because this is basically where all the editing happens, and that's where media is. It's very easy to use, as is the whole program. Camtasia Studio is a very easy to use, intuitive program with a lot of professional features. Now it is fairly pricey. It's in the same ballpark as far as price goes as Sony Vegas and Adobe After Effects, which is pretty high up there because those are the top of the line programs, but this is just a very easy to use software. I mean, it's very intuitive, very easy to use, has tons of cool features, and overall it's just a great program to use. Now moving on, over here we see the library. This is basically the same as the clip in. You can put your stuff in here, you can have audio, that kind of stuff, and it'll show like the duration, but this is basically where it shows like the properties of your clips and that kind of stuff, like how big it is and the duration of it, if it's a video or audio file. Moving on is callouts. This is basically where you can add animations and that kind of thing. So if you click on add a callout, you can select, these are all the callouts, so you can do this kind of, you can add these things which are very helpful for tutorials. You can add special effects. This is what you would click on to add text to your video, and this is basically where you can add different animations and a lot of cool effects. And over here, down here, we can edit these animations kind of in a way, but still very simple. You know, you can add shadows, and then over here, if you're editing text, you can do that. Lots of cool features. You can fade in, fade out, all that kind of stuff. Now moving on is the zoom in pan. This is basically what you can do is, for example, if you're in a specific part of a video and there's something, this is very helpful for tutorials. If there's something on the screen which is very difficult to see, maybe it's really small, what you can do is for a second, you can zoom into a certain area, and then it'll be zoomed in like that, and then you can play it, and then it'll be zoomed in like that. And maybe over here you want to zoom back out. So, how do I do this? And you can say you want to zoom in to this area now. Now it'll move like that. So what you can do now is, let me just play that. So now it zooms in there, and then it zooms in there. So that's kind of what that does. It's very easy to use. You don't really have to worry about anything. And then if you want it to go back to this, for example, you can do that. Go back to full screen. Very easy to use. Now moving on, over here is audio. Let me just pause that. Audio, this is basically where you can edit your audio, so you can volume down, volume up, you can fade your audio in or out. You can also do that on the timeline, but it's really easy to access over here. It does have some pretty cool editing options for your audio, like noise removal, and it can smoothen it out. You know, it can use the compressor tool. It's kind of a compressor tool. They don't call it that, but it basically compresses the audio so that everything is at the same level, so that, for example, if you're doing gameplay commentaries or something, say there's obviously there's going to be parts where, say, you might yell or something, so it doesn't make it so that people wearing headphones don't blast their ears out, so then everything is level, kind of. That's kind of what that does. Now over here is transitions. This is obviously some more cool features. Transitions are like between clips. For example, if I were to, where's my clip in? I'll put this in over here. What I can do now is I can add a transition, for example, fade, which is a very common one which I use. You can use fade, and let me just drag that over here. And basically what that does is, for example, you'll see it fade in. You'll see how it fades. It lagged a bit because I'm doing this on a lower end computer right now. But that's basically how that works. You have tons of transitions: checkered, cube, rotate. My favorite are these two. I don't even think I've used any of these other ones, but you can try them out. They have tons of cool transitions. My favorite are these two, but that's just my opinion. Now moving on, over here we see more. Over here basically it has any other effects like cursor effects, visual properties. If your cursor effects, this is also another great tool for tutorials or something. So say you're recording with the Camtasia Studio Recorder, and if I wanted to highlight my cursor, maybe you know how you see some tutorials on YouTube and, you know, highlighted yellow, or the cursors, just to make it easier to follow. I mean, I don't like the look of it, but it is very helpful. Now, as you can see, it also adjusts, so you can completely edit this to put everything you want here instead. So it'll have so it'll detect which features which you use the most, and it'll put those over here, and if you want to, you can just change it. Over here we have voice narration. This is just to, as you can see, as I'm speaking, this is going up and down. You can change this. I'll just leave it over here. Mute speakers, and then you can just record, and then while your clips are going on, you can just speak over it, and it's just a cool feature for some voiceover stuff. I don't typically use it because I'll probably mess up anyway, so I just pre-record stuff and then put it into my video, but it's a really cool feature. Now moving on, over here we see record camera. This is to record your webcam. I don't want to do that because then my face will show up, and I don't want to do that. Not ready for that right yet, but it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, yeah, maybe next time I'll put a piece of tape on my webcam just to show you just to give you an idea of what it is. Next up we have captions. Now this is to add captions. For example, if you have a certain part in your video which is in a different language, you can add captions over here, which might show English, and it's just a pretty interesting feature. I don't typically use it a lot because the file format that I export in doesn't support captions, but just a cool feature once again. And lastly, over here we have quizzing. Now quizzing is it's a pretty cool feature. I've only used it a few times, but it is really cool. it just doesn't benefit my type of videos. But if you say you're putting out an educational video, maybe you're a math teacher and you put out videos on YouTube like Khan Academy does or something like that, then you can just have a quiz at the end which quizzes people on different question. It's actually very useful, but once again, another problem with Camtasia is a lot of the file formats don't support features like quiz or captions, but there are obviously some file formats, but a lot of them, popular ones like MP4, sometimes don't, which is kind of sad because that's what I exported. Now those are these down features. Over here you have your timeline stuff. I'm going to be going over the timeline in the second video. Let me just see how long. It's a bit over, but I'll just get this done. But I'll go through the timeline in the next video because that's what my next video is going to be about, because the timeline is pretty important. Now if you go over here, you can see this is basically where you can watch your videos. This is where it renders. This is where you can see what your video is actually going to look like. And you can actually edit stuff. So if you click on that, you can go like this. You can rotate. Okay, you can do all that. You can also adjust the resolution. So for example, if that's not enough, you can put it to 1080p. And as you can see, this became smaller all of a sudden. And all that stuff, you can have shrink to fit. You have all this stuff, all these features over here. I'll go over these in future videos just to show you, give you an idea. And you can also resize this to however you want. You can also resize the timeline. I typically don't do that. I kind of messed it up now. Okay, there we go. That looks more like it. Let me just adjust this back. There we go. Now, up here we have the different features. So, for example, record screen. You can click on this, or you can click on the box at the beginning, or you can just click on the application over here, but I can't really show you that because I'm recording right now. Or you can also hit Control R and it will launch the recorder. And as you can see, you can also record PowerPoint. Now, I've never actually used this feature, but you could try it out, tell me how it is. I might try it out just for tutorial's sake, but I can't really comment too much on it. I've never actually used it, and I don't even use PowerPoint that much anyway, so that's there. As I said earlier, you have import media. You can import media from Google Drive. So if you have Google Drive and you have images on it, you can just import straight from there if you want, or you can just import, you can browse for media. Simple as that. Now over here is your produce and share. This is very important because a Camtasia Studio project is not very useful once you finished a project. You want to export the video obviously so that it can become of some use. So for example, if you're posting it on a website, if you just want to keep it as family videos, or as a lot of you may be doing like I am, uploading it to YouTube. You can't upload like a Camtasia Studio project file. You have to export it to some sort of video format. There's tons of file formats, so I'll show you in depth into that later on. Now up here we have the file. Now I don't typically use this because these are just like different areas for all of these features. They're just up here and they're just a lot more difficult to access, but I'll go over them anyway. So up here we have new project, open project, recent projects. You can save, but I would just hit Control S. Obviously the keyboard shortcut is a lot easier. You can go to produce and share. As I said, a lot of the features which are already on the screen in different, much easier to access areas are in here as well. Import from Google Drive, recent recordings. This can be kind of useful. Import zipped project, all this kind of stuff. You can exit. Over here we have in the edit, you have undo, which you can just do with Control Z. Let me just go back. You have a bunch of tools which are already on your timeline. You have captions, markers, smart focus, which is already in this area anyway. And going on to view, you have project. You can adjust the view. For example, over here in your canvas, you can adjust how that looks. The timeline, you can zoom it in, zoom it out, but you can do that over here as well anyway. And just a bunch of stuff which is already easily accessed. You can play from beginning, which you can just do Control Shift Space as well. Jump to a certain part, beginning and previous clip. All this stuff. Tools, you have record the screen. All of these features just in here. Not really of much use because they're much easier to access over here. And then you have help, so you can just search the web, or they have tutorials which you can just watch and stuff, but I would just recommend watching mine because I need more views, so I shouldn't recommend that. But anyway, that's pretty much the end of the first video. This video is just me going through the menus, just giving you an idea, getting you more familiar with the program as far as navigation goes. As you can see, there's not really much to say because, as I said, it's designed to be very easily navigated. It's designed to be a very easy program to use, but still has a professional level that can produce very high quality videos. And it's, in my opinion, it's basically, not that iMovie is a bad program. I've used it. It's a pretty decent program, but it's basically the iMovie for Windows, except it's better. It's more expensive, obviously, and it's in my opinion, it's easier to use. It's better. and it's just more professional, just a better version of iMovie, basically, in my opinion. But anyway, that's the end of this first tutorial. This video was just about navigating. The next video will be most likely about the timeline. I may change that, I don't know, I'll be deciding that later, but it'll most likely be about the timeline. Now remember to like, favorite, share, do all that good stuff, and also subscribe to stay updated with these videos and for more of them. Remember to check out my channel for other types of videos such as gaming, technology, that kind of stuff. So hope you all had a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next time.